Assalamu alaikum girls. Our today's agenda is again in simple harmonic motion and waves. We are going to do the characteristics of waves. So in the characteristic of waves, we need to define the characteristics, and the characteristics are speed, wavelength, amplitude, trough, compression, frequency, time period, thrust, wave cycle, and reflection. And the next is drive equation V is equal to F lambda, and solve word problems by applying the relation F is equal to 1 upon T and V is equal to F lambda. So we are going to just drive these equations. We are going to cover these SLOs today. So just define the terms. You can see that in this is the direction of wave. Just to study the wave, we are using a transfer wave, but this is applicable in both transfer and longitudinal both. This is your amplitude of vibrations, amplitude. This is the mean position, this is the amplitude from mean position to the maximum position on either side. The distance of the one wave is called one wavelength. So you are going to just watch a movie just to clear all these terms. Then again we are going to do the summary of all. So this, just watch the video very carefully.
The focus of this lesson is to learn about the different characteristics of waves. We'll mostly be looking at transverse waves, but these characteristics apply to both transverse and longitudinal. Here's a quick list of the characteristics we'll be looking at. Wavelength, which is abbreviated by the Greek letter lambda, kind of looks like an upside down lowercase y. Amplitude, frequency, period, which is a capital T as opposed to the lowercase t that we use for time, and speed. Now we'll take a look at each one of those individually. Before we go any further, let's introduce a couple of terms that will help us describe the different parts of a transverse wave. The peaks of a transverse wave we'll call crests, like the crest of a hill. The valleys of a transverse wave we'll call troughs, kind of like the thing a pig eats out of a trough. So with that terminology in mind, we can say that the wavelength of a wave is the distance between consecutive corresponding points. Wavelength, being a length, is measured in meters. So corresponding points are 2 points that match. They're identical points on neighboring oscillations in the wave. And that's what consecutive means, one right after another, so neighboring. There are literally an infinite number of places we could label or measure the wavelength. There are a few that kind of make the most sense. So here's one example. This is from the beginning of a crest on one oscillation to the beginning of the next crest. Another logical place to label or measure the wavelength is from the top of one crest to the top of the next crest. Those points are obviously corresponding to each other, they match, right? And there's no other crest in between. Likewise, we can measure from one trough to another trough, and really we can measure between any points that meet those criteria. So here's just a random one. So 3/4 of a way through a trough to the next point that is 3/4 of a way through a trough. Amplitude is basically the height of a wave, but we have to measure it very specifically. It's the distance from the middle of the wave, that dotted line, to the top of a crest or to the bottom of a trough. This means that we can measure the amplitude here, or we can measure the amplitude here. Really, the only other thing that you'll need to know about amplitude is that the energy of a mechanical wave is directly proportional to its amplitude. Okay, how about frequency? A really broad way we could define frequency is the number of occurrences of a repeating event per unit time. But don't write that. For us, we'll describe frequency as the number of complete wavelengths produced per second, or the number of oscillations per second. There's no equation for this on the reference table, but we can sort of write it in the form of an equation like this. F for frequency is equal to the number of wavelengths that you see in a picture or that are described to you. That's number of complete wavelengths, or number of oscillations, or number of crest-trough pairs, however you want to think about it, divided by time. We have a new unit that goes along with frequency. It's called a hertz. Now the abbreviation is capital H lowercase z, and H isn't a prefix. HZ is the abbreviation for hertz. And it basically means cycles per second. Let's take a look at an example of a problem involving frequency. So here's Frank, and he's making waves on a rope by moving his arm up and down, which he does 20 times in 10 seconds. So in 10 seconds, he moves his arms up and down. That's an oscillation 20 times. So we want to figure out what are the frequency of the waves that he's making. So frequency is the number of wavelengths that are created divided by time. And we can see from the description that he's creating 20 wavelengths. That's 20 oscillations every 10 seconds. So we have 20 divided by 10 seconds. Notice the 20 doesn't have any units. We don't measure that. It's just we count it. We count it to 20. 20 divided by 10 seconds gives us a frequency of 2 oscillations per second is a way we can describe that. And if we want to put our new unit on there, which we do, we can call that 2 hertz. Let's take a look at period. Again, the very general definition we can write for period is that it's the interval of time between successive occurrences of a cyclic phenomenon. But again, don't write that. For us, period is the time for one complete wavelength to be produced. In other words, this is the time for one complete oscillation. Just like we did for frequency, we're going to write this in sort of an equation form. Like what we wrote for frequency, this is not in the reference table, but this is a really convenient way to think about period. So you take all the time that has passed while the waves were created and divide it by the number of wavelengths that were produced, or again, the number of oscillations. The unit for period is just second. Let's take a look at an example. So Kelly is floating on an inner tube in the ocean, and she notices that she bobs up and down 6 times every minute. So each time she bobs up and down, that's one complete oscillation. That's one wavelength. So we can figure out the period of the ocean waves that she's floating on if we do a little bit of math. So period is the total time that has passed divided by the number of wavelengths or oscillations produced within that time. So the time that she measured was 1 minute, so 60 seconds, divided by the 6 complete oscillations that she observed gives us a period of 10 seconds. So she bobbed up and down in 10 seconds, and then bobbed up and down again in another 10 seconds, and so on and so on. Frequency and period have a unique and important relationship. Take a look at the equations you just wrote for them. Do you notice that the equation for period is just the equation for frequency flipped upside down? Or I guess you can say it the other way around. This is because frequency and period are reciprocals of each other. This means that we can write a very simple equation that relates frequency and period. We can write it either as F equals 1 over T or as T equals 1 over F. And finally, let's talk about the speed of waves. The speed of a wave means exactly the same thing as the speed of a car, or the speed of a person, or the speed of anything. It represents how quickly a wave can get from one place to another. What we're going to do here is figure out an equation for the speed of a wave based not on how far it travels and how much time that takes, but the fundamental properties of the wave itself. So let's start with something we already know. V equals d over t. Speed equals distance over time. Now let's think about the new stuff that we learned. The characteristic of a wave that's measured in meters, like distance, is wavelength. And the characteristic of a wave that's measured in seconds, like time, is period. So let's rewrite that equation that we've known since September as V equals lambda over t. That is, the speed of a wave equals the wavelength of the wave divided by the period of the wave. Now remember, we just learned that period and frequency are reciprocals. This means that we can also write the equation for the speed of a wave as V equals F lambda. And that's actually the way that it's presented on your reference table. Let's take a look at a couple examples using the new wave speed equation. So we want to know what's the speed of a water wave that has a wavelength of 8 meters and a period of 4 seconds. It's pretty pretty straightforward. V equals lambda over t. Now we wrote this equation because we know the period of the wave, not the frequency. We can plug in our 8 meters and our 4 seconds, and we can find out that the speed of this wave is 2 meters per second. Notice we didn't have to know how far the wave ultimately travels or how long it takes to get to its destination. All we had to know were those two fundamental characteristics of the wave itself, its wavelength and its period. All right, let's take a look at another example. What is the wavelength of a sound wave with a speed of 331 meters per second and a frequency of 500 hertz? Now this time, since we know the frequency, we'll write the wave speed equation that has frequency in it, V equals F lambda. And we can plug in our speed and our frequency, and when we divide both sides by 500, we can find out that the wavelength of this wave is 0.662 meters.
Okay, now this is about everything is about the characteristic and then all the SLOs it is covering. Now I just quickly go through all the SLOs again. The first definition, the wavelength. Wavelength is the distance from crest to crest or from trough to trough. Or the wavelength can also be thought of the distance a wave has traveled after one complete cycle or one period time period. Okay, now wavelength is the distance between the two corresponding points. Means if this is the point I am taking, so the distance from this point to the corresponding point of the next wave. So this is the wavelength. Wavelength can also be the distance from crust to crust, trough to trough. It can also be the distance from crust to crust, or it can also be the distance of one wave. So in either case, it is the wavelength is the distance of a one wave, and it doesn't matter wherever you are going to take the point, starting point, your next point will be the corresponding point on the next wave. Okay, now just see an animation over there. Well, what do we mean by the wavelength? You can see that from any point on the wave to the next same point on the next wave. So this is your one wavelength. Okay. So the next is your wave cycles. Now wave cycle are the pair of a maximum value and a corresponding minimum value. You see this is one your maximum value and this is one minimum value. These together pair, these together make a one wave. You can see the magnified image of that portion. This is starting from here and till here. So this is your one cycle. One cycle and the length of the one cycle is called the wavelength. Okay, now and next is cycle. An oscillation or cycle is one complete round trip of a vibrating body about its mean position. You can see that this is one complete vibration. It is moving up, coming down, then moving in the other direction and again coming to the mean position. So a single change from up to down or as a change from positive to the negative value. So this is your next is your vibration. Vibration is when a body takes a complete periodic motion or a cycle, it is called vibration. You can see that if it is starting from here, this is also called cycle and this is also called vibration. Vibration is a one complete round trip. It means if the body is starting from this point, it takes a round trip and come back to its initial point. So that is a cycle, right? So cycle is your one complete periodic motion over a cycle, right? Next is your time period. Time period we have already discussed. That is the time required for a one wave. You can see this is your one wave. So this how much how long it will take for this wave to complete its vibration. So that is your time period. Now the next is your amplitude. Amplitude is the maximum displacement of a body on either side of its equilibrium position. Equilibrium position is your mean position and it is expressed by A. So amplitude is this is your mean position line. Either if the maximum displacement, this is your peak over here. So from this mean position till this value. This is called your amplitude. On either side I can take the amplitude. This is the mean position and this is the maximum value on the other side. So amplitude is the maximum displacement. Next is your frequency. Now what is a frequency? The number of waves generated in 1 second, the number of waves produced, the number of waves passed by in 1 second, that is called your frequency. So in 1 second how many waves are produced? That is your, if for example if in 1 second 4 waves are there, 4 this complete waves are there, so we say frequency is 4 hertz. Now see that now your time period is 4 seconds. So what is the frequency of this? That will be equal to 1 upon 4 cycles upon time, right? So that is 1 upon 4 and time is equal to, again I am repeating this, you can see that one cycle is complete when it moves from here to here and time is taken is for 4 seconds. So I can simply say that the time period is 4 seconds because the time period is the time of a complete wave. What are the units of the frequency? It can be vibration per second, it can be cycle per second, but we use it at hertz. Hertz, capital H and small z. Is either it can be waves per second, cycles per second, vibration per second. It is named after the scientist and it is called hertz. Now next is trough. Trough in a transverse wave, trough is the lowest point in the wave pattern. The particles of the medium are at the lowest position in the trough. You see that this is trough, this is trough, this is the lowest position, this is trough. The distance from the resting position to the maximum value on either side is your amplitude. Now what is crest? Crest in transfer wave, these particles of the medium execute simple harmonic motion up and down about their mean position, the perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. The highest point on the wave pattern. This is the highest point on the wave pattern. The portion of water above the mean position where the particles are at its highest is called crest. So these are the crest points and these are your trough, the valley point, or this is your crest point. We are just studying the transverse wave, but it is applicable to the longitudinal wave also. Now in longitudinal waves, we have compression and rarefaction instead of crest and trough. So what is a compression? In a longitudinal wave, when the vibrating body produces waves move forward along the direction of propagation of wave, the layer of the particle of the medium coming to the way are compressed and the pressure of the layer increases. This increase in pressure is called compression. Compression moves from layer to layer and the particles of the one layer are forced to enter in the adjacent layer. So you see that if this is compressed, this compression is move in this direction. This is the direction of wave which is on which it is moving, and this is the compression that is moving along in the same direction as the direction of wave. So this compressed portion where the pressure is high, that is called your compression. Or similarly, rarefaction, the elongations in this case, this is the lowering of pressure from layer to layer. Obviously, if some region is compressed, the adjacent is elongated. This elongated portions are called rarefaction, and you can see in this portion there is a lowering of pressure, and you can also see in a longitudinal wave one wavelength is from in this it is from crust to crust, it is from compression to compression, or it may be from rarefaction to next rarefaction. Longitudinal, what is the longitudinal wave? In the longitudinal wave, this is the direction of propagation of wave and the direction of motion of the particles of the medium. Both are same. You can see this is moving in this direction and this is moving in this direction also. The energies, the particle of the medium are moving in this direction also. in which the direction of propagation and motion particle are parallel to each other, we call it a longitudinal wave. Transverse wave, in which the particle of the medium vibrates in a direction perpendicular to the direction of motion. You see that this is the direction of travel of the wave. In this wave, the wave is moving in this direction, and the particles of the wave are moving up and down in this direction. So you can see that these both, this direction and this direction, they are perpendicular to each other. Such waves are called transverse waves. For example, electromagnetic waves, or waves, water waves on the surface, and other waves. Okay, now the next SLO is driving the formula V is equal to F lambda, where lambda represents the wavelength. You know that from your kinematics, speed is distance upon time. Okay, now when we are talking about the wave, the distance the wave covered for one wave is called your wavelength, that is lambda, and t for the one wave, the time taken by a one wave is called your time period or period. So speed is equal to wavelength upon time period or period. Period and time period are same thing. So if we replace it by this, V is equal to, since 1 upon f is the time period. We have already done that time is the reciprocal of frequency, or frequency is the reciprocal of time period. So in this equation, 1 upon t, sorry, in this equation 1 upon t can be replaced by f. So V is equal to f lambda. So V is the speed of the wave, f is the frequency of the wave, and lambda is the wavelength of the wave. So we are going to solve problem on this. So this here is your first example. A light wave travels with a wavelength of a 700 nanometers. Determine its frequency. So again, we are going to use the Grasp rule. And what is the Grasp rule? Given given wavelength is 100 nanometers, and we know that nano stands for 10 power 9 meters. Okay, now, and velocity is 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. Required is frequency we need to find, and analysis. V is equal to lambda f. So we are going to start the solution with the formula, and we are going to substitute the values. V is equal to f lambda. In this equation, this is equal to 3 to 10 power 8 meters per second, and lambda is given as 700 into 10 power 9 meters into f. So what we are going to do, isolating f in this equation, so it will become f is equal to v by lambda. So substituting the values, we will get this as an answer. Okay, now, so the frequency of the wave is 4.2 into 10 power 14. Over here, this is power 8, and over here, this is power minus 9, right? Nanometer is minus 9, so we are going to put minus over here and minus over here too. This minus, when goes to this power 8, it will become plus. So 8 plus 9, that will make that when you solve this, it will be 10 power 14. Okay, now example 2, the period of the wave is equal to the time it takes for one wavelength to pass by a fixed point. So this is you stand on a pier watching the water wave and see 100 wavelengths passing by in a time of 40 seconds. Means 10 wavelengths are passing by in a time of 40 seconds. You need to know the frequency of the wave. What is the time period of that wave? Period is again the same as time period. If the wavelength is 3 meters, what is the speed of the wave? So what is given? 10 wavelengths are passing in a time of 40 seconds. And the wavelength is your 3 meters. The length of the one wave is 3 meters. what you are required to find the frequency. Your formula will be V is equal to F lambda in this. But for the first question, what is the frequency of the wave? Starting by calculating the frequency, as from definition we know frequency is the number of waves passing in 1 second, and in this question it is given in 40 seconds 10 waves are passing. So by using unitary method we can find in 40 seconds 10 waves are passes. In 1 second 10 by 40 wave passes, and the frequency is 1 upon 4 hertz. So the frequency is 1 upon 4 hertz. Now to calculate the time period, we are going to use the formula. Frequency is the reciprocal of time period. So 1 upon 4 is equal to 1 upon t. If you cross multiply, t is equal to 4 seconds. The last part is if the wavelength is 3 meter, what is the wave speed? So start from the formula V is equal to lambda f. Putting the value for f and lambda, we get what? 3 into 1 upon 4, and this will be 0.75 meters per second. So this is the speed of the wave. So I hope you understand all the things, and we are going, inshallah, in the next we are going to give you the assignment related to that. Okay, in the next we will come up with the next topic about this waves. Till then, it's for the